And welcome back to TommoTalks, the topical conversation podcast with this series, TommoTalks Music. Today's guest is an absolute legend with, well, pretty much bloody everything. He's been in several New Zealand iconic bands such as Nightshade, Blackjack. He's a downright badass guitarist, and he is also one of the longest-serving radio jocks on the hugely popular radio network The Rock in New Zealand. He used to present the weekly show called The Axe Attack, covering all things metal. And I personally believe because of this show, it really kept metal alive in New Zealand, especially in a time when a lot of live music venues were shutting down that hosted metal. So The Axe Attack was the go-to for metalheads. He's interviewed the likes of Slayer, Metallica, Fear Factory, Sepultura, Megadeth, Anthrax, Suicidal Tendencies, Leaderfall, Deftones, Steve Vai, and the list continues. He writes for the New Zealand music magazine Rip It Up. He also writes for Australia's Tattoos Down Under. Paul also started his own record label, Hellman Records, just solely to promote New Zealand music. He also plays currently in the metal band World War IV, and they've supported acts such as Motorhead, Joe Satriani, just to name a few, and that list continues. But it was in 2010 when everything changed. Paul received a demo that was meant to be played on the Axe Attack, and from that demo, it has now formed the band, which is very renowned in New Zealand, called Devilskin. Devilskin got together and they started writing a lot of music, and in 2014, they released their first album, We Rise. This album debuted at number 1 on the national charts, actually knocking off Ed Sheeran's Multiply album. It also went on to be the biggest selling independent release of the year. We Rise also went platinum, sold in excess of 15,000 copies, being the first New Zealand rock/metal band to do this since the New Zealand band She Had and the release of their album Killjoy 18 years prior. Now, if you know the album Killjoy, you know that's an absolute rip snorter, so you can just sort of get an idea of what We Rise really did for the New Zealand music scene. It basically shook the shit out of it. After a sold-out album tour, Devilskin went on to play a number of promotional gigs overseas. They got to be able to perform at iconic venues such as Whiskey A Go-Go, the amazing Download Festival in the UK. Whilst in the UK, they recorded their follow-up album, Be Like a River. With the release of that, there was another huge tour back in New Zealand. There was more touring overseas, more writing, and fast forward to 2020, they released their third album, Red. There is so much to talk about, and that was a huge bloody intro. But Paul has done so much. I'm absolutely stoked and over the moon to welcome to TommoTalks the man, the myth, the legend, Paul Martin. How's it going, brother?
Hi, Tommo. Thanks so much, man. That's the biggest talk up I've ever had. Yeah, I guess. I've been pretty busy. I guess. Rock and roll's always been my thing, and I guess it started when I was like 5 years old, and I remember hearing Louis Armstrong on the radio, and it just tripped me out. And music was my thing ever since. I wanted to be a trumpet player. I wanted to be a musician.
Is that right?
And I was the youngest of 4, so I heard all my siblings' record collections, and it was mostly Led Zeppelin, Uriah Heep, Black Sabbath, and then I found, my own way through music and stuff. And yeah, I've just been playing in bands since I was 17. I'm 56 now.
Yeah.
And enjoying it more than I ever have. I think it's just, it's taken a long time to get where I am. But with music and with bands, it's all about the chemistry of the people. And sometimes it takes a while to find that chemistry. Sometimes you never find it.
Mm-hmm.
But I absolutely love this band. And Jenny sent me a demo tape of her first band, Slipping Tongue. She sent it to the Axe Attack, and honestly, I opened it up and thought, it was so rough. I thought, oh, this looks bad. What's it going to sound like? And I put it on, and let's say I shouldn't have put it on air, but as soon as I heard Jenny's voice, and she was 16 at the time, I just got goosebumps,
Is that right?
And I put the song on air, and I just believed in from the very beginning, and they got better and better. Did a couple of EPs, and I produced a song for them, and then when they split up, it was like I had a very chance encounter with Jenny. No idea she was going to be at that shopping mall, and just said, "Hey, do you want to play in a band?"
Right.
And she was like, "Yeah, kind of, but I don't, wouldn't want to go touring or get out of town or do too many gigs or anything like that."
Right.
Sweet, let's just get together and do it.
Yeah.
And it happened pretty organically, really. And we all just got together and jammed. The very first night we got together, we wrote three of our biggest songs, arguably, Fade, Little Pills, and Until You Bleed. And they're
Yeah.
staples of our set list now, and just felt good. And that's the whole thing for me. It just instantly, everything felt right and felt organic. So
Right.
I'm so stoked to still be doing this,
And listen, mate, I just listened to, or we listened to it quite a lot actually, Red, for the last couple of weeks when we first hooked this up. Mate, you got to be happy with that. That it's such a fat album. It's like the production of that album is just second to none, mate. You must be really thrilled with it, yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we always strive. We're so proud of We Rise. That's double platinum here in New Zealand now.
Oh, is that
So
right?
we're
Shit.
stoked. But the production values and everything like that's super important to us
Mm.
because we're all big fans of music ourselves. That's why
Yeah.
we're here, because we love music, and we want to sound as good, if not better, than our heroes. And so we just put everything that we can into it. With the album Red, I think there's a bit more time between Be Like the River and the release of Red, so we still had a lot of songs left over from the first two albums demos,
Awesome.
so we've never had like a shortage of songs.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got together and we just thrashed them out, and we demoed something like 30 tracks for the album Red, and had to cut it down to 12. So
Yeah.
it's pretty tough, but those songs that are on the album really put their hands up, and they're all really special and really personal to us, like
Yeah.
Jenny singing about her struggle with endometriosis. And
I read that.
on the
Yeah.
song Endo, and she wanted to, I was like, Jenny, are you comfortable
I was going to
talking
say
about this? She
very
goes,
personal. Yeah. Very personal.
very. And she's like, hell yeah, because she had emergency surgery at one stage to get a mass
Wow,
cut
man.
out. And yeah, she was, and it affects so many women. That's the thing. So
That's it.
many women have it, and they suffer in silence with it.
Right.
And here in New Zealand, the time from first symptoms to diagnosis is 17 years for most
Wow.
women, for average
Jesus.
women in this country. So they're suffering with this horrible pain
Yeah.
and discomfort, and it's a dreadful disease. And Jenny says, nah, let's bring it out in the open, and let's have people talk about it.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, and we had no idea to pick that song for a single. Like, it was, it had a working title of what was it? Oh, it had this crazy working title. Cat the Bulldog. For about a year, and we've been playing it live, still calling it Cat the Bulldog,
Yeah.
And Jenny goes, "I want to call it Endo." It's like, oh, okay, it's
Yeah.
going to be a big subject. Let's do it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what it's about to us. It's about writing songs that mean something, that
For
that
sure.
that have that have impacted us in some way, and feelings and stuff. We went away on a weekend songwriting retreat up
Hmm.
to Manukau Heads one time, and we were coming home, and we came across this. We were like the first car on the scene for this really, really nasty accident.
Oh yeah.
There's kids involved, and it was horrific, and we were all traumatized from that. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the song Victor came out of that. We'd written the music, and we had no lyrics for it. And that day, lying on the side of the road with someone else's child bleeding in my arms, and I'm telling them to hold on for the ambulance and
Oh
stuff
my
like
God,
that. It
man.
was like, oof.
Yeah, it's heavy.
We were all in such a bad place after that day. Luckily, no one died at that accident. And yeah, I just basically wrote those lyrics out one day, and it just fit the song that the music we'd written, and just things fell into place again. And
Even though
as,
such a tragic experience, so Paul, and like I'm so glad to hear that no one died from it. Like, I mean, looking back, and you were there, and you actually helped, and you had this kid in your arms, to find out that they didn't die and you helped. That must have been a pretty wicked feeling too, though. Yeah.
oh, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think of anything that you're doing as being amazing at the time. You just do. You just
Yeah.
jump in, and this poor little child had been thrown 50 meters from a car, from a rolling car and stuff. And
Yeah.
and you just do what you do. You dig in, and you just hope like heck they're going to be there, and you just want to support them and help them. But
Right.
later on, when you can process it, it's such a heavy
Yeah,
freaking
man.
thing to do. And
Yeah.
um, I guess it was cathartic for me to write the lyrics about it, and
Of
it sort of
course.
helped us all sort of come to grips with things.
Did you have any contact with the family that after the fact?
No, but
No.
we were talking to the police, because it was actually it was a road rage incident, a
Oh my
racially
God.
motivated
Oh
road
my
rage
God,
incident. So it
man
was
alive.
turning into an attempted murder charge, you see.
Oh,
So
jeez.
we were with the cops the whole time, liaising with them and stuff. But
Right.
yeah, the guy ended up going to jail who did it for a long
Oh,
time, but it's just really, really sad for the family. They were just ripped apart.
right. I'm sure. Okay, so listen, we'll come back to Devilskin and Red and everything that's been happening. Very interestingly, though, I want to go bounce back to when you said you were 6 years old. You heard this Louis Armstrong song. Now, because you're such a metal man, I find that really intriguing. That it was something like that got you hooked on. What was it about? Do you remember what song it was?
I don't
Mm,
actually remember the song, but I remember asking my mum at the time, "Who's this?" And she goes, "Louis Armstrong.
right.
He plays trumpet." And I remember Tijuana Taxi by Tijuana Brass. It's a
Right.
real old 45 that my dad had, and it was this sort of jazzy music that was used on some TV show way back. And
Right.
all that stuff just made me feel good. It just
Yeah.
felt
Yeah.
great, this blaring trumpet sort of sound. So I
Mm.
always wanted a trumpet, and I didn't get one until I was 12. We were pretty broke when I was growing up, and I finally got this trumpet
So was that
and
your
went
first
to.
instrument? Was it trumpet? Was your first instrument?
Yeah, it was, yes.
Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
right?
And I started learning. I was going to Ngātawaihia High School
Oh yeah.
that year, and we had a really good orchestra and a really good music teacher. So I just thrived. And my dad was in the post office, so we shifted a lot. So we only did 1 year at that school. Then we went to Wellington,
Okay.
and the school I went to there had no music department. As you played
Right.
cricket or you got the cane.
Yeah.
So I got the cane a lot because I don't like cricket. But
It sucks. Yeah.
I actually started getting paranoid about playing my trumpet because I actually got quite good in a year, and I
Mm.
was doing all the seventh formers parts by the end of
Right.
the year, and I was a third former. So I really enjoyed it, but I got super paranoid playing in Wellington with super close neighbours and everything like that. And
Right.
then I, I fell in with the wrong bunch of guys at school, the right bunch, and
Mm-hmm.
they're into punk rock. And I saw a Sid Vicious poster and heard the Sex Pistols album and the Ramones, and I was
Uh
like
oh.
super excited to play. I want to be a bass player now.
Well, mate, very interesting. So there's another very well-known musician who started out playing trumpet, who loved the trumpet, that switched to bass as well. Do you know who I'm talking about? Flea.
No, I don't.
Flea from
Flea, of
yeah,
course, yeah, of course.
yeah,
Oh,
mate.
yeah.
He was,
Oh, wow.
and remember, you probably seen Funky Monks. It was a documentary when they did Blood Sugar Sex Magic. He
Okay, yep,
he
yep.
actually plays trumpet on a lot of those tracks, and there's trumpet on quite a number of tracks, and he's still quite a talented trumpet player,
Oh, he's just a beast of a human being, isn't
isn't
he?
he?
So
Just
I'm
though,
sure,
isn't he?
yeah,
Just
I'm sure he could play whatever. I actually picked up a trumpet a little while ago, and I've lost all the embouchure, all the muscle
right.
that you have in the. So it's a long way back for me because it's been a few years. But yeah, I've got one. I'm continue to make some noise and piss some people off with it, and
People don't
eventually one
realize
day
how yeah,
use it on a record.
people don't realize how loud brass is, right? Like
Oh, it's loud.
it's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and my son Nick, like he plays in the band now. He
Yeah.
was drafted. I drafted him in when he was 15 because our original drummer had to have an operation on his shoulder,
Right.
and we've got a shed outside, and I made this little back room. On totally soundproofed it all, and Nick could sit in there playing the drums all day, all night, but he'd still piss all the neighbours off.
Yeah, of course.
And it's like too bad.
Yeah.
And he just got really, really, really good. And I press ganged him into the band. He was freaking out that he wasn't good enough for it. And as soon as we played our first gig with him, Jenny and Nail and myself looked at each other and we went, oh, we can't go backwards now. He's
No.
like
I,
amazing.
I was going to bring him up soon, mate, but solid, super solid. And for a young man stepping into those shoes, and like it wasn't like he jumped in when you were playing some pretty bloody sizable gigs too, right? So the whole
Yeah, yeah.
stage fright thing, like for him to overcome all that, like he's done really, really well, right? It's just obviously
Oh,
meant for him.
he's super thriving in this industry, and he's got another band called Seeds of Conflict, and
Right.
he's really busy with them. They've been doing some amazing recordings and videos that are pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't stop, and he's a multi instrumentalist. Like every Christmas, I buy him a different instrument. And here you go. What's this? It's a baritone ukulele. You figure it out. What's this? It's a Chinese lap harp. You figure it out. And the thing is, he does.
All
He starts
right.
playing me Chinese folk songs 10 minutes later. So
Right,
come
right,
on, man.
right.
I'd love to say good off me, but I think his mum's quite artistic. So
So you're playing trumpet, then you did switch to bass.
yes,
Yep. And when you were learning trumpet, I'm guessing you would have learned music theory, right? If you're
yes, yeah,
playing, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. So is that did that stick through you right through your musical career?
No,
No.
I can still read music. I'm pretty slow at it, but I
Yeah.
mean, way back when I was learning bass and stuff, tablature was available in magazines and things
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
could find it. There's no online.
Yeah.
But you had to learn from books or playing along to records. And
Right.
I played guitar I played bass for maybe a year, maybe 2 years in this band called Tyrant. And then the lead guitarist left, and I'd seen this Ibanez Iceman, like Paul Stanley model
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
guitar in the shop in town. And I was just like, oh, one day. And I just bought it. I just ticked it up,
Yep.
paid it off, and went, I'm the guitar player in the band now.
Right.
And man, I hate to think how bad I was. I was rubbish.
Right. But then you
But it was a lot
stuck
of
with the
fun.
guitar, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just love guitar. Absolutely loved it. And we were playing really bad versions of Judas Priest and Scorpions and Black Sabbath songs and stuff, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, man. And I think that's the key, though. Like, I mean, I was in cover bands as a kid. I remember the first band I was in, I was still living in Cambridge. And our bass player, her dad was a drummer, and he was used to play for an Elvis impersonating band or what have you.
Oh yeah.
And he had this
Okay.
big, huge Pearl kit. And I remember using the school kit. Most school kits are shit, right? This is when I was like an intermediate. And I get around to this house, and there's this full-size Pearl kit with cymbals galore. And I was just like, I was in heaven, man. And we played, what was that? We did Wild Thing, and we did Cocaine. The song. We weren't doing cocaine as kids.
Yeah. Not
That
Wild
was
Thing
later.
the dance. Wild Thing the song. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
exactly. Yeah. And but yeah, it was really, really bad too. But like Dave Grohl's even said that, man. He said, all these bloody shows where you go and audition and you get told that you're shit at this and that. Like, what a bunch of bullshit, man. Just get some instruments, thrash it out. You're going to sound bad, but then one day you sound good, right? It's such a key message. And I think the thing that worries me, Paul, is I've got friends with kids now that are at the age that could be learning music, but they're playing Guitar Hero. And that's their buzz, And I'm like, wait, time out. We need to do something here. Like try and learn an instrument, but they just haven't got the attention span, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, this is why here's some really good fatherly advice for your friends.
Yep.
Kids, the TV's broken.
Yeah, man.
The Game Boy's broken. All that shit's broken. Go outside and climb a tree.
Yeah.
Play guitar. I've been really lucky because when my boys were young, I was the same. No PlayStation. I didn't want them to play that. And just get absorbed by screens like all their friends were.
Right.
But they would still play at their friend's place. But they were no good at it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're kind of like, oh, we're no good because we can't practice at home and stuff. And
right.
They're both super motivated now. Nick's a multi-instrumentalist. Jake, my oldest boy, is a salesman. Aussie, he's creaming it over there. And both got really good work ethics. And they might have played Pokemon the little Pokemon games for a little while.
Right. I know the ones you're talking
That was about it. And I didn't want them to have too much screen time because it just turns you into a hermit who doesn't know how to do anything else.
And also can't actually communicate like one-on-one. Do you know what I mean? Like if you see the likes of them today, they'd rather send a text than call,
Yeah. You need to be hanging with people, doing stuff, interacting with people. And like music is such a wonderful thing to discover because the very few people are really good at it as soon as they pick it up, but they're out there.
Yeah.
For most of us mere mortals, we've just got to work hard.
Man.
And the joy you get from the accomplishments and the tiny triumphs as you get a little bit better and a little bit better. And, it never stops, And I still buzz out. We've had some downtime, so I've been sitting through some of my favorite old records and trying to remember how to play them again. Like, from CCR to Tesla to UFO. I love UFO.
Right.
It's funny. Just playing along, getting my buzz back and enjoying playing music.
So since I've been doing this podcast, I've spoken to people in like LA, Norway, the UK, Australia, obviously home as well. And all the people that I've spoken to that are quite accomplished, that have released albums, or but another guy, Dylan Elise, you might know of him. He's
monster drummer.
Yes, so he lives
isn't he a star? He's a lovely guy.
Mate, have you seen his sister play bass? Hannah? Jesus Christ, mate. It's incredible. I had Dylan on an episode a few weeks back, and he was saying when he was learning, like he was homeschooled, but when he was learning, he was practicing 12 hours a day. And I was like, what, man? Like when I was rehearsing, I did maybe an hour a day, and I thought that I was putting in a lot of time. But in his message, because I always ask people at the end, like, what is your message to either musicians that are first starting out or that have been playing for 3 or 4 years that want to really push their craft to the next level? And it's all the same, man. It's all, You got to work hard. If you want to be in the music industry for the partying, for the shits and giggles, this ain't the place for you, because it's just all about hard work, and it's been the same message from everyone, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, the industry has always been tough. Um, COVID, wow, lethal to rock and roll, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
just
man.
sort of pulled rug out from every single band on the planet,
Yep.
every artist. And we got friends over in the states. Our good buddies in Hailstorm finding it tough because all I've done is tour their whole lives,
Right.
and they've got this amazing crew. Everything's just ground to a halt. So it is tough, and you got to be in it for the long haul. If you're passionate about it, it's not a big deal. It's just what you
Right.
do
Right.
every
Right.
day. It's what you do because you love it. And I've had lots of jobs over the years, man. I've had some shitty jobs in some shitty places, and
Yeah.
dangerous, crappy jobs, removing asbestos, or I'm licensed to be in charge of radioactive material because I was like a welding inspector for a little
It's
while.
hilarious.
So there's you get your job so they can pay your rent and stuff, but all your focus has to be on music if you're
Right.
serious about it. And it's a beautiful collision of um, perseverance, luck, a lot of hard work, and just finding those right people that just you'll fit together and it
Yeah, man.
happens. And some, like I say, some people just never find that group of people to make it, and it's sad. And we've all seen so many great bands go by the wayside,
Yeah.
but it really is it's an amazing thing to get a bunch of people that want to do the same thing. They're all on the same page, and they all want to play music together. It's
Yep.
another thing altogether if people like that band, so you've
Exactly.
it's not nothing short of a freaking miracle sometimes. You gotta work hard. And like I've been playing in bands for years. World War IV, another band I'm in, we don't pull crowds. We have a great
Right.
time. We're a
Right.
bit heavy, but
Yeah.
it's still so much fun, and
Yeah, man.
it's all I want to do.
So you're back in guitar. So you're moving around the country a little bit because your dad was in the post office. When did you move back to Hamilton?
I actually moved to Te Puke.
Oh, did you?
And what year was that? 1988, I think it was 87 or 88. I joined a
Right.
band called Nightshade, so I moved from Wellington to Te Puke to join the band. I had one guitar and a massive record collection.
Yeah.
I stole my brother's car, blew it up on the way, and just arrived in Papamai. I'm in your band now, and
Right.
we had a great time. We toured for a couple of years.
You had a couple of good
Um,
singles in the late
yeah,
'80s. There, I remember. Yeah.
yeah, and we worked hard, and it was a lot of fun. I learned so much from that band. And then I left that, and I was in a band called Fury for a while, which was
Right.
a lot of fun. I played covers for years, and then I went overseas with a toured Australia with a cover band for a while, and then came back and heard Blackjack on the radio. Their
Yeah.
first single out of here
Yeah.
was just getting played on the Rock, which had just started out.
Yep.
And man, who are these guys? And I tracked them down. Oh, I know you fellas. Oh, wow. And they're like, oh man, we need a second guitarist. Is that you? I'm like, dude, wow, let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. And
So
that's how it happened,
yeah,
eh?
we had a lot of fun. We did 2 albums,
Yeah.
and then it all kind of imploded. But
Right.
yeah, it was a whole lot of fun, and I'm still very proud of those albums.
Yeah, man. Good albums too. They still stand up, man.
Yeah, I think so.
So
And
when did
it's a
you?
snapshot of where we were at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the sound of that's the sound at the time too, right? Like from
Yeah,
everything from the guitar sounds to the engineering to everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when did you get back to H Town?
Yes, I was only in Papama with Nightshade for maybe a year,
Mm,
and then we lost the other lead guitarist and the bass player, so we moved to Hamilton to relocate,
right.
and we've got a couple of new guys, and so yeah, I've been in Hamilton for over 20 years now. 25.
So H Town, we got to talk about H Town for a second because it's a unique city in it. It's a little
It
bit
is.
different, and it gets arseholed from the rest of the country, mate. Everyone likes to pay out in Hamilton, doesn't it?
Oh, that just because of 1 year we had the highest chlamydia rate in New Zealand. That was like about 10 years ago. I think we're one of the cleanest cities now.
Yeah,
But
but
no,
mate,
it is a great town, and I
it
mean
is.
we're the little bogan brother of Auckland, of course, because
Yep.
Auckland's the centre of everything.
Right. Apparently,
Um,
whatever. Yeah.
Being in it, yeah, and an hour and a half down the road, here we are. But I mean, the distance between Hamilton and Auckland's getting shorter and shorter as it
Yeah.
all gets built up now.
Right. Right.
But yeah, we're grateful not to live there. We're happy to live in this place, man. It's beautiful here. We've got this gorgeous river,
Yeah.
and
You're right.
um, yeah,
I lived there for the last 2 years. I was in New Zealand, and I absolutely loved it. The friendships and networks I made there, of the Bay of Plenty originally, but I just loved it, man. And I tell you what, there's been some solid musicians come out of Hamilton, some
Oh, of course,
great
yeah.
musicians, and a lot of them don't get enough credit, I don't think. I mean, if you come out of Auckland, you're a superstar, apparently,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, we've got Kimbra, we've got the Finn brothers,
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a great place to be.
Yeah, man. Like I can name okay, so Darren Monteith, like
Oh
Whisper
yeah,
Scream in
wow.
those days, they were wicked. The Brown brothers, Jared and
Oh,
Shannon Brown.
incredible musicians, man. And for me to be a young bogan and going to these bars where they're playing, and
Yep.
I think, oh, I walk into a bar, I can hear Hotel California playing, and I think, oh, it's on the jukebox.
Right.
Oh, hang on, no, it's not. I turn around, and there's blooming Jared Brown with his acoustic guitar playing the solo behind his neck, and this shitty little bar in
Yeah,
Hamilton
yeah,
is
yeah.
like, oh man, I should be at home rehearsing.
Mate, I met him. I was oh god damn, I can't remember. I think so. There's Bourbon Street and there's a pub right next to it, right on the river.
Governors,
Governor's Tavern.
governors,
I used to come
yeah,
over from the Mount. Our covers band used to play there, and I met Jared the first time I met him. I think he was 14 years old. He was outside and he couldn't go in, and he was just
yeah,
outside singing. And I was like, I remember going, dude, that guy's got a good voice. And then because he's not a forgetful character, right? Like he's got a lot of energy, and
yeah.
I just keep bumping into him, and then we became really really good friends, and he still is a good friend, and he's just uber talented, like what he can do.
Super talented,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, scary talented. Apparently, he's playing golf now. He's pretty good at that, I'd
He
say.
is, yeah. He's playing golf. He's got this. He got this. What is it called? The not too good golfer or something. I forget what it's called, but it's
Yeah,
hilarious. Like
yeah.
he's very comical on
Oh
it.
no, he's a star. He's one of these people who can just do anything he wants really, really well.
Yeah, it pisses me off actually because I
It
have
pissed
to
me off too.
fucking work and work and work to do it.
Yeah.
Mate, we got to talk about the Axe Attack. How did all that go down? Because you don't know this yet, but when you were doing the Axe Attack, I was actually working for the Radio Works in Tauranga.
Oh, okay.
When I was in my 20s, mate, I was a sales rep. I was shit. I was the worst sales rep ever. I was just looking for an angle to get into production or get in on air or whatever. And this was I started working there just as they launched the Rock in Tauranga. So
Oh, yep,
the
yep,
morning rumble was being piped through.
yep.
I think Ricardo was doing like 10 till 2, I think, and then was it Beachy doing the rest, and then Shaggers was doing the night
Yeah.
show and all that sort of stuff. So
Oh, good days.
I got my ass kicked actually because that first summer there's a lot of promotional stuff going on. So I was working with Ricardo and Gary. What was his name?
Pring.
Gary Pring,
Gary
mate.
Pring.
Good
Yep.
bastard. Good
Yeah,
bastard.
oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he had come from the Classic Rock. The Rock bought Classic Rock in Tauranga and it merged, right? So we took on their staff as well. So he came from... Anyway, such a good dude, but there was so many promos and there was short staff. So I got to do a couple of on-air stuff, but pre-recorded stuff. So I was going in doing some pre-recorded stuff on Sundays. But I didn't know I was supposed to stop. So I was going in and I was over-recording Beachy stuff. And then, what was it? Was it Brad King? Was it Brad?
Yeah. Yeah.
He
That'd
rings
be
me up
Brad.
one day, mate, and just gave me a fucking shellacking. I was like, how dare you do? I was like 19, 20 years old. Going, sorry, man, sorry. Because I was recording over the top of Beachy's shit on every Sunday. And he eventually found out about it. But anyway, yeah, I digress.
Good days. Good days. Well, I actually, but before the Rock came along, I was when I was still in Nightshade, we got invited to talk on Contact FM, the local university station,
Right.
Contact 89 FM. And this young guy, Johnny Brooks, had just started this radio show called The Axe Attack.
Okay.
And a guy called Max Christopherson, who was the station manager, said, "Hey, look, we need a metal show." And Johnny was the man to do it.
Yeah.
And myself and a couple of other members of the band got interviewed by Johnny, and him and I went out for a drink afterwards and just got on like house on fire. We had the same record collection. He's like,
Right.
"Dude,
Right.
you
Right.
should co-host the show with me." And I went, "Nah, man, radio folk, they're all a bit queer, you know." And I don't want to be a radio guy.
Such a bogan. Such a
And
bogan.
and he's like, "Well, you don't have to be a radio guy, man. Just play the songs."
Yeah.
And and 33 years later, Johnny left the show after, I think, a year of us doing it together.
Right.
And his partner at the time, Anna, did the show with me and co-hosted the show for 6 months, and then that was back in 1987. So I've been doing it ever since until COVID came along, and then NZME, who have been the last platform I was with, they sacked 200 of us in the second week of COVID. So
Right.
Yeah, 33 years of playing metal. And the cool thing was, I was had a self-imposed quota of no less than 33% Kiwi music on the show. So,
Perfect.
man, I was playing a lot of Kiwi music, and there's some really, really good music, and I'm passionate about it still, and I want people to hear it. So that was the big driving factor for me,
Right.
was getting people to the local shows. You know, there'd be a metal show on something. Let's make sure people have heard this band
Yeah.
because they're bloody good. They've gone to the trouble of making a CD or whatever, and it's just getting the music out there and supporting the local metal scene that gets no support from anywhere else. You know.
So is that the same sort of time you came out with Hellman Records? Like when you
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. I did an Exotech compilation album in conjunction with, was it EMI? Might have been EMI. No, Universal Music years ago,
Right.
and yeah, put out a compilation of New Zealand metal bands. But you know, the record company weren't really that interested in pushing it or anything like that. So
Right.
never had the budget to really get out there. But really proud of the record. There's some great songs on it.
I'm sure. Yeah. So, mate, we need to start some sort of hashtag like bring the X Tech back or something because I'm sure you're probably getting messages or emails from people
Oh
going,
yeah,
"What's going on, man?"
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's just finding a platform is the hard bit, you know.
yeah, and you were mentioning
And
before,
and like I want to do it right,
yeah,
and you've got to pay licenses,
right,
and I'm not going to go out there and do the pirate radio thing and not pay the bands whose music I'm playing. You
yep.
know, it's got to be fair for everyone and keep the industry rolling. So yeah, still working on it. So hopefully something's going to come up real soon, man. I'll
Yeah,
keep you
for
posted
sure.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we've sort of we learn about how everything started with Devilskin. I just want to sort of learn about your recording process as well as the touring because there's always ups and downs in touring. Whenever you travel, mate, you can have an itinerary and everything planned out perfectly. Nothing ever goes to plan, right? There's
Yeah,
more
you
often
only
than
need
not.
one piece of equipment to be left out of the truck,
Yeah,
and everyone's a
exactly.
bit grumpy.
Or miss a train or miss a flight, right? And
Yeah.
then you're in
Oh
the
yeah,
shit.
yeah. It's easy. No, we've got a fantastic road crew that have been with us for years, and you know they we just trust them with our lives. They're really really good
Hmm.
and the best in the country at what they do. We've got New Zealand's best lighting tech by a country mile, and you know we've only done one show on this tour so far. That was last weekend, but it's spectacular, and we're all
Yeah.
just so excited to be out there doing it again.
Yeah, for sure. So We Rise, I think that was recorded at York Street. Was that correct?
Yes, it was the last album to be recorded at York Street.
Is that right, mate? Oh
Yeah,
my God,
before
there's a
they
bit of
pulled it down and turned into a car park or apartments or something pathetic. It's
that's
such a great studio. It was amazing.
and again
Really, really was.
the history of that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And so where did you record Red?
Red, we recorded at Roundhead Studios, which belongs
Okay,
to
Neil Finn,
Neil
right?
Finn in Auckland. Yeah, it's amazing studio. We've done some work in there before. We've recorded a few songs in there before, and this time we worked with a producer called Greg Haver,
Okay,
and he recorded All Fall Down and Endo with us at Roundhead.
yeah.
Previously, we just went in to do a couple of songs, and then when we talked about the album, we went, "Wow, we had such a good time with Greg Haver. Let's do the album with him." He was with the Manic Street Preachers. He was their drummer for a while
Oh
and
yeah,
producer. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I've
he's
heard
been
about
around.
this
He's done
dude.
a lot. He's done a lot. He's amazing,
I think he might
and
have produced one of the 48 May albums,
that
maybe.
could be right too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a little
Probably,
while ago.
yes. Prolific producer and
Right,
just a sweetheart of a guy, and he gets our music, and that's the main thing. He'd come to our shows and he loved our stuff,
right,
and we did a lot of pre-production work with him before we went into the studio. So working down and really pulling our songs to pieces and examining everything and just making everything the best it could be. So
right.
yeah, we're really proud of what we've come up with.
Yeah, and like I say, I've been listening to it the last week or two and that, and I was stoked like how big it is, man. Like it's just such a fat sound because musically you're only a three piece, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
to have that such a big sound, man, that's
Yeah,
pretty
it is.
awesome,
Yeah, yeah. And Nick's playing a bit of keyboards on the album.
right?
And actually Nick has a hand on pretty much every instrument on that album, in one little place or another. He's
Right.
played a little bit of bass and a little bit of guitar. He wrote a few of the songs, like the Endo riff is all him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's pretty clever and he loves being in the studio, and we all sort of take great care and pride in what we're doing there. You know? And
Now
we
what?
only, again, we only work with cool people that get our music.
Right. Well, it makes sense. Yeah. How did you feel about jumping back to bass after all those years playing guitar? Was it an easy transition for you? Did you love it, or was it just sort of how that
Well,
happened?
originally with this band, I was going to be the guitarist,
Right,
and that was right. And we couldn't find a bass player,
right,
and we just Jenny had sort of committed to a jam, so I went, oh well, I've got a bass guitar. I'm just going to plug it into my Marshalls, and I'll be the bass player for the night then. But it's only for one night,
right.
and there you go.
Yeah, since
11 years
2010.
later, I'm still
Yeah, yeah.
playing bass. I love it. I love playing bass. I'm not a great bass player by any standard, you know,
Right.
but I absolutely love it, and I know what I think the song needs, and you know, for so many years, like in World War Four and other bands, and I'd be saying to the bass player, "Can't you just play one note, bro, instead of getting
Right,
all over
right,
there?"
getting all
And I've
busy.
got my idea of what good bass should be, and I've always loved aggressive bass, like
Yeah.
Stranglers. You know,
Yeah,
JJ
yeah,
Burnell
yeah.
was one of my favorite bass players, man.
Really?
Absolutely
Yeah,
love
yeah.
his stuff. And Lemmy, of course, you know, just that
Yes.
aggressive, driven bass sound
Yeah.
is it for me. And
Do you know
yeah,
what I think is really cool too, Paul, is playing with your son,
oh yeah,
because your family, I think
yeah,
you're
totally.
automatically going to be tight, right?
Yeah,
'Cause-
I mean, it's a thing. It's a real thing. Like, you know, we'll work on something and then we'll be live, and you'll just go with the flow. But I'll know when he's going to do this, and he knows
yeah,
when I'm going to do that. And
yeah,
all of a sudden, we don't even communicate. We both play the same fills together in little bits, and
right,
yeah, it is. It's. I've never had, excuse me, I've never had a relationship like that in a band before that's worked so well. So yeah,
right.
I think we've got a pretty powerful rhythm section.
And like, there must be so many proud dad moments too, though.
Oh, dude, you know, rehearsals.
Yeah,
I get goosebumps when we'll be at rehearsal and we'll do a full. Oh, you know, the song "The Victor" on our album. The
yep,
drumming, the last part of that song is just spectacular,
right,
and I get goosebumps every time I'm at rehearsal. Oh, man, ooh,
yeah,
I grew that.
yeah, 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 exactly. That's
And I
your
say to other
retirement
people
savings
too,
plan, mate.
"Hey, what's it like playing with your with your son on the drums?" And it's like, dude, it's the best thing I ever did. I've had
Yeah,
nothing but drummer problems in my whole freaking musical life. So I grew my own,
that's
and it's
awesome.
magic.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, no,
So
he's really good, and he's like so musical, and yeah, he's all over the production. He's you've got to check out his band Seas of Conflict,
Seas of
man.
Conflict. Okay, brilliant. I'll put those in the
Really,
links below as well. Now, there's a number of videos that I could drop in here. We sort of briefly spoke about there. Is there a particular video that you'd like me to drop in?
maybe Sweet Release. It's our latest
Sweet
video,
release. Okay.
and it's a song that I wrote the lyrics about a suicide in town here 5 years ago. It was a young boy who was 21 at the time, and he was in mental health care at Henry Bennett Centre, and he's supposed to be on suicide watch, and they let him go outside for a cigarette unattended, and
Oh,
he took
Jesus.
himself down to the river and drowned himself.
Oh, my God.
Such an incredibly sad story, and his
Yeah.
poor parents have been through the mill, you know, in the last 5 years trying to get answers and you know, some sort of resolution from the hospital as to why this happened, you know,
Right,
and
right.
it's just so sad. And it's a case that I followed for 5 years, and then one night I just poured out the song, and Jenny had this amazing chorus, and it just again everything just sort of fit together, and when we were demoing the song, I didn't think it'd make it onto the album because it was too soft and slow, and we had a few
Right.
slow ones already, and everyone voted for it, and so it made the cut for the recording. And then when we were recording it, I looked around the studio at one point. Everyone had tears in their eyes.
Wow.
The whole room, all
Wow.
engineers, everyone, the girl making the cup of teas, everyone.
Yeah.
And it was, I just thought, yeah, there's something about it. People are getting it. What I was trying to get about with the lyrics. People are trying to, people are understanding it.
Picking up the pieces that you broke. The saddest morning when I awoke. See, it's difficult to know the truth, the darkened path of being you alone. The rain was coming down that day, the blackest sky to which I prayed. See, it's difficult to think you're gone. Your life became the saddest song alone. Life's emotion, sweet relief.
When we decided to make a video for it, it was well, this isn't one of our normal bangers that we like to do videos for, because we like to keep up songs, and we're basically a live hard rock band,
Right.
whatever you want to call us.
Yep.
Been called all sorts, but it's pretty much rocky stuff, and for us to come out with a single that was a ballad, it was a big different step for us. But the song was so powerful that we just thought, no, we can't deny it. And I spoke to Nicky, the young boy who wrote the song, about I've been in touch with his parents the whole way along, and I've played them the song. I got their blessing. I wouldn't have recorded it without their blessing.
No.
And had them involved with the video, and had some of Nicky's things in the video shoot as well. And we filmed it here in our hometown.
Yeah.
And I went out scouting places by the Waikato River to film. And I sent a few photos to our video director, and she goes, "Perfect. Yeah, that's it. That's the spot."
Wow.
And then later on, when I showed Nicky's mum, she goes, "Wow, that's where he actually washed up."
Shit! Are you serious?
Yeah.
That
So,
is
and it was
epic.
right across the road from where he used to live. And so there's all these synergetic little things were falling into place, and it was just kind of meant to be. And yeah, it was really poignant, heavy, emotional.
Yeah.
But I love the way the videos come out, and it tells a story. And yeah, I still can't watch it without tearing up a bit.
Wicked.
And we've sort of partnered up with Lifeline over here to get the message out about suicide, because it's a freaking epidemic here, man. It's awful.
It's terrible. Yeah.
And so yeah, just trying to get the message out that there's someone to listen. And you know, when you do something like that, you affect so many people.
Yep.
And you break everyone's hearts, and there's help. And yeah, we just want to give a positive message, and help our audience, our people that listen to our songs. And
Brilliant.
we played a show in Invercargill once, and we were checking in out of the motel to go to the gig, and this woman goes, "Oh, one of the girls that works here is queuing up for your show at the moment. You know, it's a mile or so down the road. She'd freak out if she knew you guys were staying here." And I said, "I'll give her a call."
Right.
And she gave her a call, and this girl ran all the way back, and she gets there, and we were like waiting, because we had a car waiting to take us. And we thought, "Oh, we'll wait for this girl." And she puffed, and she's sweaty, and she gets back, and she saw Jenny, and she just burst into tears, and just hugged her. And she was just like this. And she goes, "You guys saved my life." And she showed us her arm, and she had all these cuts. She'd been a self-harmer. And she goes, "You know, your songs pulled me out of the hole and saved my life." And man, I was just remember thinking that night, if I never play another note, then I've done my job. You know, that's the highest accolade you can get.
Absolutely,
for
man.
being a musician, is to save someone's life. You know.
Yeah. Mate, I'm getting tingles. I'm getting tingles.
Yeah, well, I get tingles when I talk about it too, and it's such a real thing, and it's so amazing to be able to touch people's lives, and give them some sort of hope and help when they feel that they're desperate and lost, you know. So
absolutely,
music's the big healer, man. And I think this time of chaos, and the whole COVID-19 fear, lockdown drama that's going on everywhere, I think people need a little bit of mental health time to get their own emotions in check. And that's where we dig into our favorite songs and our favorite albums. And you know, you're a music aficionado like myself, so I'm sure you've got albums that you'll put on from start to finish, and don't want to take them off, because that's going to take you where you need to be, and help you process and heal and get on with your day. And just to get that feedback from other people that our music is doing that for them, it's made my whole life worthwhile. You know?
Well, but that's the thing, mate. Like screw all the money that comes, screw all the good times. Like you say, one person that you change their life that much, like you couldn't do anything better for anyone in this world, right?
No, that's right. That's right. It's exactly right. And you know, music's such a powerful medium.
It is.
You know, and it can, there's all sorts of people. The cool thing about, I love most about this band, is the different age ranges of people that come to our gigs. We get 60 and 70-year-olds, and then we had a 4-year-old, you know, this family with a 4-year-old daughter, and a couple of them 6 or 7-year-old boys came to our show in Whangarei, you know, and they're all up the front, and they bought the t-shirts, and to be able to play to young people is so cool, man. It's their excitement and their vibe in the room is just amazing. It's so different to playing in a pub full of drunk grown-ups, you know what I mean?
For sure. They're not
Which
really
is
listening
fun,
anyway.
which is a lot of fun. But kids are so honest, and I remember seeing my first ever shows, and I was like, oh,
Yep, same.
And and especially Jenny being a front woman,
Mm-hmm.
and you see these little girls just going, wow, she is super powerful,
Exactly.
and inspirational for these young kids, and it's really cool to be
and
a
think
part
about
of.
this, Paul. Like you were at the start of the episode, we're talking about when you were 6 years old and you heard Louis Armstrong playing the trumpet. You imagine that 5-6-year-old that's at the front watching you play bass, mate, just
hearing
going,
Jenny just smash out these insane notes.
Right.
Totally.
And that's one thing also. I've been actually stalking a lot of people on Instagram, and I've got a lot of female artists on that are just killing it, man. Like a lady Tora from Norway, she's a blues guitarist, and she's just wicked. And her Instagram channel is quite big. She's got 200,000 plus followers, etc. And she wants to create a safe place for young girls where they can go and look at her and go, I want to be a musician, and not be worried about all the bullshit that goes with it. Because, like, I'm not sure what it was like for you, but me growing up, there was no female musicians. If there was a female in a band, they were usually a singer. There was no female guitarist, drummer, bass player, what have you.
That's right. Yeah.
But there's like
we were all in love with Sharon O'Neill.
Well, there's one part we're in love with. Let's be honest. The old switch. Oh, Sharon O'Neill. Sorry, I was thinking of Sharon Stone, mate. And that. I got it wrong.
All Sharons.
Yeah, all Sharons, mate. Yeah. But yeah, it's just so powerful, man. And like the thing is getting back to the suicide thing with online Instagram or Facebook, the fucking bullying that goes on it, man, is atrocious. Like
it's a different world for our children, it really is.
And I don't think we can understand it. Do you know what I mean? Because I used to get, a little bit bullied at school, but in our day, you just punch someone in the nose. Everyone likes to bully until they get punched in the nose. But when it's online, and again, because we can't communicate, these kids don't know how to communicate. They stay in their bedrooms, they get dark, they get down, and this is when all this horrid shit happens, man.
And the bullies can carry on because they're not getting pulled up for it at school, and they might get a blimmin' slap on the wrist, but that's it,
Yeah,
in my day, you got the cane.
Yeah.
And you couldn't sit down for a couple of days, and so you thought really hard about being a dick next time,
Exactly.
But I mean, bullying is an issue. It's a major issue, but I think it's getting so much more. People are way more aware of it now. So hopefully, it's people are just going to get their.
Well, and listen, and more people,
wankers.
Yeah, exactly. But more people like yourself and Jenny and what she's doing, being seen as a strong female and out there and connecting with her fans, like that young girl. That you guys waited for that girl to run back. You could have easily gone, shit, we're running late. We need to get down there. We need to, that would have changed her life. That moment there, she will cherish forever.
100%. Yeah, forever. Yeah. And that's the thing that none of us take any of that sort of thing for granted, and we'll. That the 4-year-old girl that came to our show the other night, she went home with half a dozen guitar picks. We targeted her, and we, made sure these kids had something. We gave them posters, and we just want everyone to come away feeling good and connected and like a part of it.
That's brilliant.
Because without the audience, man, it's a pretty lonely job being a musician.
For sure. As we're finding in COVID, do you know what I mean? I think, and we will all agree with this, that music is therapeutic, and what I'm missing myself is festivals. Getting with a bunch in a big crowd, singing your favorite songs, what have you, and none of that's happening now. And it's not just the musicians that are missing out. It's all the support crew. It's the people that turn up and that flip the burgers. It's the people that provide the drinks. Do you know what I mean?
It's a massive industry. It really is. Yeah. And, we hear about how hard the industries have been hit with COVID here in New Zealand. They talk about tourism, but they don't talk about, and they talk about coffee shops, but they don't talk about the bands.
Right.
It's been hard enough for us anyway because there's not that many venues, and it's freaking hard for bands here. We don't get primetime TV. No one plays your videos on TV or anything like that.
Right.
Really hard to get any of the news shows to mention your band or anything like that. Even when we did released the Sweet Release single and said, hey, we partnered up with Lifeline. We want to spread the message of this. TV shows not interested, radio not interested.
That's atrocious, especially when there's a
Yeah.
message that powerful behind it, right?
Yeah, and then you watch TV that night and it's just crap that they put on there. So,
Yeah.
but hey, we just persevere, man, and we're getting through the right people. We get some great crowds at our gigs,
Yeah.
and those people are really important to us, and it's important for us to get the message across to them
Perfect.
that we're all in this together.
Yeah, man. So 2020, we all know the COVID's been a bit of a bastard. What are the plans right now for Devilskin the next 12 months to 5 years?
Well, when COVID hit, we had a UK and a European tour booked. We had an Australian tour booked and a New Zealand tour. So everything basically got cancelled.
Right.
New Zealand tour got shuffled like 3 or 4 times because we've had the alert levels going up and down here. So we've just been waiting. Everyone's just in this holding pattern, waiting for the government to say, yes, you can have crowds of more than 100 people.
Right.
And that's just happened last week. So we found out on Tuesday or Monday that we could play on Friday.
Right.
So, and we'd had these gigs booked for ages, and we're selling tickets, and we're just praying that we're going to be allowed to do it. So things have opened up a wee bit here. So Auckland still hasn't opened up, but we can start our tour. And this weekend we play here in Hamilton, our hometown, and then Mount Maunganui at the big stadium there. So that's always an amazing gig.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
then we're getting around the countryside. So yeah, we'll get out there. Afterwards, who knows? There's talk of a bubble opening up between here and Australia, but I can't see gigs being a happening thing over there for a little while. Europe, I'd say we won't be going there in the next year and a half, which is, heartbreaking for us because we've got such a good market over there.
Yep.
But things we can work on. Another album. We've already started working on that. We're talking about an acoustic album because we'll be doing a acoustic show for our VIP component of the gigs.
Right.
An hour acoustic show.
Yeah.
Before the doors open for our VIPs, and that's so much fun. Every night they go, "Are you guys going to record these or what?" So, yeah, we probably should. They sound all right acoustic.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that, and another New Zealand acoustic tour. Just something different, making another video, and we've just got to keep the momentum up.
Yeah,
Tommo,
just keep on working, mate.
You can only do so much because you're only allowed to do so much. So much is beyond our control that we're just going to work on what we can work on. And great opportunity to write some more songs and work on the songs that didn't make the cut for this album and write another album.
Right, that's brilliant. Now, Paul, looking back, you've been doing this a long time, mate. Bit of reflection here. If you could go back and do everything all over again, is there anything you would change? Is there something that you'd do different? Have you ever thought about that?
Not really, no. I don't have any regrets. I've been in some bands that have had some unfortunate situations caused by different band members, not me usually, but I'll be the one pouring my heart and soul into it, and then someone else just treats it as a flippant waste of time. And but I tell you, all of that, all the hard yards, it's been all hard yards pretty much up until this last tour. We've got Devilskin going. I didn't realize that there was this many people in New Zealand that came out to shows. Like I still go to shows that we're playing, and I'll see a queue outside, and I go, "Oh shit, there must be a big sale on at Briscoe's around the corner or something." And so I go, "That's your crowd, man." It's like, no, is it? So a lot of it is still kind of surreal. But I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, man. And all those bad things that happened throughout my career and bands that fell over, and the moments where I thought, "Oh, is this ever going to happen?" I just want to play music with people, That's all worth it to go through to get where I am today. So I've got no regrets, man. And it all happens for a reason, and I wouldn't be here if some of those things hadn't happened. So
100%, brilliant.
I could be out there X-raying steel.
Yeah. or working with radiation or whatever you said earlier.
Yeah, man, radioactive material. I've got a license for it.
That's amazing. And
not very rock and roll.
Not very, no. It's a bit like Homer Simpson-ish, right?
Yes, that always comes up. Someone always has to say that.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I always like to ask the artist some advice they could give to some musicians. We obviously spoke about hard work and that. Is there anything, if there's some people that are just starting out in music, or if they're into their sort of 3 or 5 years, whatever, you want to really push it to the next sort of level, what would you say would be the best thing to do?
I think it matters not what level they're at, whether they're just beginning or whether they've been in it for a few years or whatever, but stick to your guns, do what you do, and don't be afraid to shoot them if you need them. You've got you've got a talent, you've got a gift, and you've just got to keep going. I mean, the album um, "Be Like the River," the song "Be Like the River" didn't come out on that album because it didn't make the cut, but it's on the new album "Red." But that is all about forging your own path. If there's a rock in a way, sooner or later you'll wear it down and you'll get through it to where you need to go.
Right.
And so you follow your heart and you follow your dreams, and that's what you got to do if you're serious about music. And yeah, it is hard, and sometimes it looks hopeless, but if you don't persevere, you'll never know.
Awesome message. And for folks that aren't aware of where to find Devilskin, how can they find you on social media?
Yeah, pretty easy on social media. We're on all the major platforms, pretty easy to find. But Devilskin NZ is our Instagram, I think, and devilskin.co.nz is our website. They can check that out. Plus, you can find us on Facebook, pretty easy. And yeah.
Brilliant. I'll have all the links below as well, but it's always good to make sure we got it right.
Yeah, very cool, man. And it's so exciting hearing from people from the other side of the world. You know, it's like, what a buzz. Someone in Idaho loves this song and thought enough of it to drop me a message through the website to say, hey, man, cool song.
That is awesome, mate.
Man, those little buzzes every day are just so important.
Yeah.
Really, really important.
Mate, you've had a wicked career and it's nowhere near over. Let's lobby to get the Axe Attack back because that's hugely important. I wish you all the best with Devilskin, mate, and hope things start opening up a little bit for you. I really appreciate your time, Paul. You're an absolute gem of a guy, mate. You're hilarious, and I've really enjoyed the conversation. So thanks for taking the time out. Everyone get down to check out Devilskin. I'll put all the links in the media. This is once again been Paul Martin with Devilskin. This is TommoTalks, and we'll catch up next time. Thanks very much, Paul. Cheers.
Thank you, Tomo.